And then really the week before we had a big anniversary party at Savaya. So we had two big events that went from sunset to sunrise and then the next day to sunrise. So it was a lot going on. And then we have some venues in Jakarta. So Ramadan, Lebaran, preparing
Yeah.
for some busy traffic and tourism to
Wow.
Bali so that we can make sure that properties are filling up with people and taking care of them. Involved with our Canggu properties as well as Savaya down in Uluwatu. And then we're working on expanding the business.
Excellent. Seems like a very busy week, sir. I mean, yeah, it's expected out of hospitality industry, but hopefully for this occasion we can just like share. So I hope it will be relaxing. It will not be like add up to your. I mean, it is adding up to your agenda, but yeah, we're hoping to learn a lot of insights from you today. So I think since everyone's here, I would like to start. So welcome everyone. Welcome also Mr. Stephen Traversie here. We have him as our inspirational speaker today. I forgot to, to introduce myself. My name is Sarah. I'm the guest experience manager in Bukit Vista, and I'm also during this event. I will be accompanied by my moderator Ganes here. But yeah, since the first agenda of the meeting will be inspirational speaker, let's get on to know more about Mr. Stephen Traversi here. I'll go ahead and share my screen. All right. Hopefully it's visible to everyone now. Great. Right. Yeah. Once again, welcome, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you as well for accepting invitation and attending our meeting here. So yeah, everyone, we have Mr. Steven Traversi. He is the vice president of marketing in Savaya Group. As we all know, Savaya is very famous in Bali. Actually, for me, it's quite. I don't know. I would like to say like a pity, I guess, because we also have our vice president of marketing in Bukit Vista, but since it's so he's taking holiday. But hopefully, nonetheless, we can still share no more insights from Mr. Steven. Sir, I have compiled here a little bit about your journey, especially from your LinkedIn. Maybe you can give us a brief journey on how your career has been.
Sure. Yeah. From the United States, from North Carolina. I have been in the hospitality business since I was 16, providing and supporting myself through working as a busboy, a barback, a server, and while maintaining going to school when I went to college. And then what you have here is Full House Productions is a company that owns bars, restaurants, nightclubs back in America, and they had 15 bars and restaurants across various cities around America. And I came in as an intern, started for a free internship for 3 months. Ended up getting hired. This was right when social media was becoming a thing. So I saw that that was a potential to grab a hold of and get exposure to because it was changing just as today. It's changing very, very fast every single day, especially with AI and everything that's going on. So I saw that as an opportunity to make a name for myself in the hospitality space on the corporate side. Really gravitated towards that, doing every aspect of social media. This was before you could do paid advertising on Facebook. So I was doing influencer marketing on Twitter, and Twitter was the most popular social media network back in the day. So I was doing meetups, tweet ups, all of these things for our company, researching various locations and finding influencers to come to our openings. And then it kind of expanded, doing websites, loyalty programs, CRM, email marketing, etc. And then I outgrew North Carolina. I wanted something bigger. And if I wanted to stay in the hospitality space, you had to go to bigger cities. And I always wanted to work for bigger. I got exposed to some big cities. And so that led me to Las Vegas, Hakkasan Group, which is funny enough, the same group opened Omnia, which was the previous venue before Savaya. So I was a part of that company before when they announced that they were doing a Bali project, which kind of connects the dots with how I ended up in Bali once we get to this. But I worked at Vegas and it goes from Full House Productions. We did very local centric bars, restaurants. So it was very 90% of the people were based in the community, 10% were tourists. And then you go to Vegas and it's the other way around, 90% tourists, 10% local. So you go from marketing with a very small budget to marketing with a very big budget because you're marketing to the world. So you have to learn to market to casinos, to massive billboards, to other cities. So if you're in Vegas, you have to market to LA, you have to market to Miami, to New York, to the Asian countries as well, and make sure that you have a presence across the board on that. And so that was a big learning step for me on how do you take the previous company from a very small budget and then work with something with a very, very big budget. While I was there, I got recruited to oversee the marketing department for LA for another hospitality group because they heard kind of some good feedback about me. So the president reached out to me, recruited me for an opportunity in LA. And that's when I went to become the director of marketing for SVE, which owns hotels, bars, restaurants, nightclubs as well. Went there, and that was my first experience really leading a full team, the PR, the marketing, the graphics and creative department. And then I was going to stay there, but funny enough, my old boss from Hakusan Group quit to take over Tao Group as the chief marketing officer. And he asked me to leave SVE to come work for him again. And I enjoyed working for him. And they were building in Hollywood, California, 150,000 square feet. It's basically one entire city block in Hollywood. They were building a hotel, a nightclub, a rooftop, a pizzeria, a restaurant, and another restaurant. And so it was from the start to finish. And I saw that as a unique opportunity to do something for that magnitude in Hollywood. And so I left SBE, went to Tao Group, and Tao Group was really a pivotal moment for me because the company was something that I looked at inspirationally coming from the East Coast of North America because they were headquartered in New York and Vegas. And New York to me was that magic city that you always wanted to go to and wanted to work at. So I got the opportunity to work at Tao Group, spent 2 years in LA opening that project, and we did really well at the time in LA. And so they asked me to go to Singapore and help open Lavo at Marina Bay Sands, Marquee at Marina Bay Sands. So I got exposure doing international and working in Singapore, and also learning that my first exposure to the Asian market and really understanding the differences in that and culturally and every aspect of that. So that was exciting and eye-opening to that. And then my role really encompassed, my responsibility was overseeing every aspect of the marketing. My job was, how do I bring people to the event, and then how do I package it up and show it to the world on how great it was so that they have FOMO and continue to build the community in tandem with creating great content, creating partnerships, and every aspect of that. And so then I kind of became this Swiss Army knife for the company, where I was able to move for them. And so they moved me to Las Vegas to work on a project that they were doing there. Spent some time in Las Vegas again. And then they asked me to go to New York City to oversee the department there. And this was about 6 months to a year after Tao Group was acquired by Madison Square Garden. So we went from a private company to a public company. So getting exposure to that. Madison Square Garden owns the New York Knicks, the New York Rangers. It's a professional basketball team, professional hockey team, as well as arenas. So they have one of the most famous arenas right now in the world, the MSG Sphere in Las Vegas, which is a massive entertainment hub. But so I got the experience of, my office was at Madison Square Garden. I got to work there in New York. When they moved me there, that was kind of like my dream, to live and work in New York and go there. And I had to revitalize the department in tandem with the partnership team. We had 25 venues in New York City. So it was a lot of properties to kind of oversee and work with the various team members. But it was a good challenge, and I had a lot of fun there, a great company. And then COVID hit, and that was being in the hospitality space when all the venues come to a close and close down. We had to lay off a lot of people on our team. We shrunk the team down to a lot of aspects, but we had to be creative. We had to come up with ways to generate revenue online. So we threw a New Year's Eve event that was purely online during COVID and raised $300,000 from this online event by packaging up an experience that we would mail to people's house that they can then join our live stream. So you had to be creative. And then we did in New York City, it was a lot of ghost kitchens where we were able to work in the kitchen and deliver food, but people couldn't come into the restaurant. So we had to pivot for that. And there was a lot of pivoting during that time. And I looked around and was like, why am I spending all of this money in New York City on rent, on all of this aspect when I can't do anything, when the city shut down? And I was kind of looking at where I wanted to be in my career and what I wanted. And I had done LA, I had done Vegas, I had done New York, and I was looking for something that had, from American standpoint, less taxes. And so I was looking at like Miami, Dallas, some of these places, and I had a job opportunity in Miami to be a vice president a couple of years ago. But my old boss, who was the vice president of marketing back in 2015 when I was at Oxon Group, took over. I saw him quarantining in Bali, hit him up and was like, "Why? What are you doing in Bali?" He mentioned that he took over Omnia, which is now Savaya, and Hakkasan in Jakarta, which is now Chow Chow. And we reconnected, and he asked me to come out and kind of help him with what was going on with that. And I had never been to Bali. I had never been to Indonesia. Didn't really know much about it outside of what I've seen online and the Eat, Pray, Love movie. And was just basically decided to take a chance. America will always be there. Let me take a chance on this. If it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Moved here at the latter half of COVID. Still, there was no international flights coming into Bali, and have been here since. Really enjoyed the culture, really embraced the aspect of the people, and excited for what we have in the pipeline of growing and the aspect of that. But my career has, through all of these aspects, marketing has been the consistent, but my role now has kind of shifted into, I would say, vice president of the company. So it's not just marketing, kind of getting my hands involved in every aspect of what's going on for the betterment of the group and how can we improve on every aspect that's going on, instead of really compartmentalizing it as you're just marketing or just creative or just that.
I see. Wow. I think that was very inspiring, sir. Especially, I see that you're especially very ambitious with the with how, like you mentioned, like you started in the hospitality industry from 16 years old, and then like you saw the opportunity of the growth of digital marketing of in the internet basically, and social media, and you took the chance, and now you're here and very, I think, yeah, I think like we should really, like everyone here can learn that we can always look for those kind of like opportunities in life, especially, and not just settling in. Thank you very much for that. We would like to ask, we have some questions here that we would like to ask you, especially with how, yeah, you said that you've previously from the USA, and now you're here in Bali and staying here. So what digital market trend or like strategy do you believe like Bali businesses in Bali should start paying attention to more right now from like your observation?
Yeah, I mean, kind of I touched on it when I was doing the introduction and aspect is
Mhm.
AI is the next social media. If you're not involved or getting experience and playing around with it now, you're going to get left behind on what's happening, because that is going to, it's already changing the world, and it's only getting faster and faster. And if you're not playing around and using that every day and forcing yourself, it's going to fall behind. But at the same time, that also creates an opportunity. Everyone is on their phones, everyone is on the computer, everyone is on these things. That it also creates an opportunity for creating in person real life community events, and you're seeing a gravitation towards that now, where there is a pull to go back to what my childhood was, of like playing outside, having fun again,
Mhm.
reconnecting with people, and you're seeing a lot of opportunities with that as well. So there's both sides of it. You can see the digital side of it, but you can also, if you're looking at, it's like anything. If there's a cause and effect, if something goes too far this way, something else is happening over here. So just make sure you're paying attention to both sides.
I see. Yeah, totally agree, because like obviously some people like we're seeing that like a lot of people are leaning towards more of the, yeah, internet now, and not anymore like face-to-face interactions, but yeah, because some people are still wants to like how it was back then. So yeah, there's both like markets there, right?
Well, it's a balance. It's a balance, right? Because in the hospitality space, it's how do you integrate AI without losing that customer and guest
Yeah,
experience? So it's making sure that they can get those quick answers as much as possible, but also making sure that they have an easy out to talk to someone if that's what they're trying to do, or creating a hybrid approach that achieves both of that. For Savaya, for example, we get 15,000 WhatsApp messages a month. So that's inquiries that are coming in a month just for one venue. And so we have to integrate and utilize strategies that allow people to get the answers they need, but also because we also sell one of our tables for anniversary might be 300 million for one table. So how do we give a great guest experience to
Yep.
someone who's inquiring and looking to spend 300 million for one night at a venue? So it's a balance, and you have to look at that from all sides.
Yep. Yeah, as someone who's working with guests all the time, I totally do agree with that. If they're just looking for like someone to answer their question, yeah, you have AI there. But then like if things escalate and they would need someone like actual human to assist them, that should be also present. Yeah.
In the hospitality space, it's about anticipating the guest needs. So how
Yeah.
you give them the answers before they're going to have the things. And in being in the hospitality space, you should start to see trends. These last 30 people ask the same question: how can I build something in to alleviate that and answer that?
Yep. Yeah, totally agree with that. It's always that's how successful people are, right? Like anticipating so they get ahead, like two steps ahead. Yeah, totally agree with that, sir.
The best thing I can say on that is the advice I give to my team is, if you bring a problem to me, come with three solutions.
I see.
Yeah.
That's that's definitely can be applied. I like just to encourage the people as well to like step ahead. Right? Yeah. Thank you very much for that, sir. We have like another question. It should be the last. Yeah. So I guess relating back to the brand, I guess we would like to know more about what your perspective in brand identity. Like what would be the key elements in building and maintaining a strong distinctive brand identity from your experience in Savaya, which is a very like competitive destination in Bali.
Yeah, so for us, for Savaya, our goal has never really been looking at the island as competition. For us to be successful and what we're trying to achieve is we are trying to build a brand that competes on a global level. So we are competing with Ibiza, with Tulum, with Mykonos, with where these people are going who have disposable income. And we also, as a byproduct of this with Savaya, is we're in the long game with Savaya because we have more venues that are coming here. So the aspect of it is, if you're seeing what's happening in the world right now, I'm not sure if you're paying attention, but the economy is and the political landscape, the aspects that's happening there right now, it's affecting tourism. It's affecting tourism. You're seeing the IDR exchange rate is different. So it could help us from an Australian tourist perspective, but hurt us from a different perspective on some Western countries. And so for us, we are trying to position Savaya into this global brand because we have to pull people to Bali for us to be successful. Because there's not enough people on the island to come to Savaya every weekend to spend what we're trying to do for the and justify us spending the type of money we do on these caliber of DJs, because it costs a lot of money for us to bring these DJs here. So we have to make back that money, and the only way to make back that money is to have people spending the money. So for us, we're trying to build Savaya into this premium luxury, inspirational aspect. And the venue is beautiful itself. Sit in Uluwatu on the cliff, 100 meters up from endless views of the Indian Ocean. And then you combine that with, we feel like our service from the Indonesian staff is at the very top notch. From the time you book, from the time you enter, to every aspect, if you're spending money and you're getting that, we feel like we've really spent a lot of time and effort onto that aspect, so that when you're coming, you have a great experience. But our job doesn't stop just Savaya, because if someone comes and they have an amazing experience at Savaya and they get Bali belly, it rains for a week, they have a horrible experience in Bali, Savaya could be great, but they go back home, Bali was horrible. So how many other people are going to want to come that they tell of that, like to come and experience Bali? So we are in this unique situation where we are trying to build up Savaya. We are trying to attract people to come visit Bali, which is ultimately going to help everyone, including you guys yourself who manage villas, hotels, food and beverage establishments, because they're not going to go to Savaya every single day. They're going to go around and experience everything that's going on. And so for us, it's really how do we get Savaya positioned in this place, but also simultaneously, how do we make sure Bali is in a great place as well, because they go hand in hand. We need someone to have a great experience in Savaya, to have a great experience in Bali, so that with all these new projects we're looking to build, it complements each other. And so for us, for Savaya, we've spent a lot of time and energy embracing the community as well. So making sure that the local community can get into Savaya for free with certain limitations of like getting in before guest list at 6 p.m., making sure that you have certain aspects of that so that they feel like they can be champions and a part of that experience without spending the tourist prices. Simultaneous with booking these big caliber DJs to expose the island to the music. And I feel because I've been here almost 4 years, the last couple of years, you're starting to see the demographic of the island change. And so there's people that are coming with more disposable income. There's people that are looking for higher caliber experiences. There's people that are just looking to spend money, which helps everyone to a certain degree. And so how can we continue to improve upon that, refine that, and offer great guest experiences with them while in tandem promoting what we all love and reason we chose to live in Bali for the people and the atmosphere and the culture and everything that's going on, and respect that. So Savaya, we won #1 club in Asia last year, #9 club in the world. So we anticipate that increasing this year because voting comes out in 8 days. The results come out in 8 days. So we anticipate maintaining the #1 club in Asia and most likely increasing from #9 in the world, which only helps Bali. And for us, it's staying true to that, not wavering on what we post on social because other brands are posting it, making sure we hold our brand to a higher caliber, making sure that we don't just cave to post something because someone had a success here with one or two events and the aspects of that, and staying true to ourselves. And that's ultimately it. Like, what is Savaya, and how do we not only, because it's a balance, right? Because people think of Savaya as music, DJs, but we don't want to become a concert venue because we're open 7 days a week. We have Monday through Friday, and most times we have a local DJ, but it's not a big party experience. It's a different experience. So if we don't do a good job of a balanced brand promotion, then people will only choose to come on a Saturday and Sunday when we have big DJs. First coming on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, which is what we need to be successful as a business.
Yep, yep. Thank you very much for that, sir. Yeah, the what I take away from what you just explained, Safaya's looking to be especially like global and also like just like one particular like distinctive thing, not just like you mentioned like just DJ, so that only people coming in to just watch or like on the weekends, but also like spread to the like other services that Safaya has. But thank you very much for that, sir. Yeah, I think that we are kind of out of time, but
Oh, sorry. Let me pose a question today. I'm going to yield my time that I normally would actually speak at all hands for a few questions with Stephen. Stephen, my name is Jing, and it's a
Nice to meet you.
pleasure. Nice to meet you as well. Nice to meet you as well. I took a look at your background while you were speaking, and you probably worked at some of the coolest places I've ever seen. Hakkasan, Omnia, Marquee. These are all really, really, like you said, they're aspirational, inspirational destinations for anybody, I think, in the sort of the teen up to the 20 segment and even beyond. So you also have a solid background. You didn't helicopter in, you worked your way up from the foundation all the way to where you are now. I have two questions. One is this: since you're on the bleeding front of what is going to be cool, how do you decide when to stick to tradition and when to pivot into something new? I mean, right now you're talking about AI as also the trends are getting faster and faster. But I'm sure in your careers, you've had to make numerous decision points where you decide we're going to invest in this new DJ because he's up and coming. We're going to move out into this market because we're going to be pioneers there. But then there's also this balance point of we're going to keep doing what we're always good at. And that's a hard decision. I'll give you a shot on that first question and really listen to what you have to say there, because that's one that's puzzled me always.
Yeah, I mean, look, ultimately at the end of the day, as you hear it from very successful company leaders outside of the hospitality space that everyone knows, the Steve Jobs of the world, hire smart people and surround yourself with them. And that's number one. First, like how do you get yourself surrounded by smart people to help make informed decisions? Really looking at the data, looking at the formulas that are working and understanding it, and also testing it, right? Like just because you change something doesn't mean you have to change it fully and commit 110% to it. It's testing stuff and being strategic on that. We have made mistakes. Like no one is perfect in that aspect, and you make mistakes, but what do you learn from them and how do you apply them to the future? And things are changing at an alarming rate, especially in the hospitality space, because of that. Back in the day when I was starting in America, there was expense accounts. A lot of companies did away with expense accounts. So that affected business and seeing everything that's going on with that and the aspect of that. So those are things that you don't plan for, that you then have to pivot and change for. And like, how are we going to get those people here? That now changes the amount of money we can charge. So what is an experience that we can offer that is an amenity now to that they feel like they're getting more value to spend the same amount of money? And then you also integrate like loyalty. The perfect example is, I believe the airlines loyalty program is more valuable than the airlines themselves. If that doesn't tell you what the power of data is as well, and leveraging that for your company. With you guys, with hospitality, there's an opportunity in Bali, right? In America, I can go to one or two apps and see every rental that's there. Right now, everyone has to go to Facebook Marketplace, Airbnb, those experiences. So you have a lot of data on people who are coming in and around the areas that can be packaged up and creating experiences, partnerships, et cetera, at that. But how do you not cheapen that brand and that experience, or you offer different tiers for different people so that it's integrated in that? But I would say just ultimately it's surrounding yourself with smart people, looking at the data and the metrics, making sure you're A/B testing as much as possible within reason without slowing down the operation, because it's a balance of sometimes you got to move fast, sometimes you got to take an informed decision. And then historically looking at what's worked, what hasn't worked, and leveraging that and basically combining all that together to make informed decisions on what you want to achieve and what you want to do. But also you got to have some visionary people, in the sense of like some of the stuff that we're doing we're taking a chance, right? And so there is a fine line of, if you are trying to do what we're trying to do with being something different for Bali that hasn't been done, we are taking a chance into the unknown, but it's less unknown to us because I've experienced these brands in New York, Vegas, and LA. So comfortable with it versus someone else who would be here. So from the outside looking in, it can be like, oh, they're taking a lot of chances on this. But the end side, it's like, we have a lot of core people who have worked in those markets who can bring that experience together to create something together on that level.
Calculated risks. Yeah.
Yes,
You know your
correct.
weaknesses, what you're going to get into.
Yeah.
That was actually the next thing, but since we don't have too much time, I was curious to see what you actually identify as. So many people across, let's say, Bali want to be cool. They want to do something cool, but ultimately they don't quite get there. They don't get they might buy the venue, they might put in like beautiful people, they might actually do the checklist, but they never attain that panache. What, in your experience, has been sort of the differences between people who actually understand cool and people who don't understand cool? What's the secret sauce, in your opinion?
I mean, the differences, right? It's there are these people who are just cool and know they were at the intersection of trends before we even know it.
Right.
And they might be the artists, the fashion forward people, the influencers, the content creators, but they might not have the best experience running a business, looking at a P&L, understanding how to get the costs down, understanding that you got to cut staff here, you got to trim the fat here, you can spend this much and this is your cap. Because sometimes the looking cool overtakes the business side of things. So I
Right.
want to my friends drinks, want to do this, but you don't understand how much you can comp up to. You don't understand how that affects business and the balance of it. And the challenge I think here in Bali is I have an office job. I work Monday through Friday in an office here. My office is actually in Kuta because we are building a beach club in Kuta and a bunch of other stuff. So I live in Uluwatu.
Smart. That's pretty
Yeah,
smart.
I
would
live
recommend
in
that,
Uluwatu. I live in
Uh-huh.
Uluwatu because I love Uluwatu. It's funny enough, but the aspect of this is living here. You're always surrounded by people who are going to the beach, who are going to do yoga, are going to do something, and it takes very high self-discipline to not get caught up in that world.
Correct.
So if someone's starting that, you have to have a balance and discipline and to see the long-term vision that I
Yeah.
have to do these building blocks A, B, C, D, E to get to F. And if I
Yeah.
don't, if
Yeah.
I skip these steps, some of these blocks can fall down.
Yeah.
And what happens is people here, they get excited, they might have a little bit of success, and they shift their focus. And there's a lot of businesses in Bali that are great owner operator places, but then when the owner goes on vacation, who's operating the place?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're building systems and defining that, and there are some challenges in the Asian market, especially in Bali, because there are limitations, right? Like
Yep.
the education that the people in Bali get is different than what
Yeah.
people in the Western world get. So they're at a disadvantage on some degrees of that. And
Yep.
so sometimes it's how do you increase the amount of people and shrink the amount of tasks
Yeah.
instead of giving
See
them
that.
that so that they can ensure that they're executing it and then expand upon that. But funny enough, I last year I started villas as well. So I do three villas myself and have gotten the experience of the headaches that are attached with that and
You can always give it
the
to us if
aspects
you
of
need any help with
yeah,
smart people.
yeah. But it's been fun though, because now I see a different side of it with the aspect of people coming to visit,
Yeah.
seeing the struggles of what you guys go through.
Oh yeah.
Um, also the excitement of it, because it ultimately is hospitality at the end of the day. So if you give someone a great experience, it's rewarding down the line, not just the 5-star review, but every aspect of it.
Yes. Agreed. Thank you very much, Stephen. Sorry I've taken a lot of time, but yeah, this gentleman, Mr. Stephen, is, I think, the real deal. We have inspirational speakers every week, but it's very rare to see somebody who has attained such a global amount of achievement and also has really that deep wells of expertise and is truly authentic. Some people, they'll come as an inspirational speaker, but they'll say things that are just very surface level. I think you hit all the wells of wisdom here. So thank you very much for your time today and taking up, I think, twice as long as we normally have taken. And to our team, thank you for also your patience too as well. Normally we would be moving on to the next section. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks guys. Have a good one. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Stephen. Stay, but if you have other agenda, good luck with your day, sir. Thank you very much.
Yes. I have to run to another meeting. Thank you guys. But if you guys have any questions or want to reach out or want to check out Savaya, feel free to reach out.
Thank you very much.
Even
I've
for
had
even for your bill
I
again.
hope we can
Yeah.
catch up. Great.
Everyone. Bye.
Thank you. All right, that was for weekly inspirational speaker talk. We can move on to the next agenda by Mr. Jing.
Yes, like I said before, I yielded my time, so I'd like to just give it back to the rest of the company. Just a moment there. Who brought in Stephen? Who did the outreach to get Stephen? Anybody here?
It's Rama, sir.
Excellent. All right. I know a lot of you don't like to do outreach. I know a lot of people don't like to talk to strangers, but that's how you actually meet really, really key people. This myth of really important people will just find you and invite themselves to your home it's just like that. It's a myth. If you really want to connect with people who are in the next level and next level your own careers, you gotta be willing to accept the